You're now tuned into the fourth season of Atypical Voices in Our Time, the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, a media education company. Let's get it started.
That's AVIOT.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It is the AVIOT podcast. I'm your gracious co-host, Jay Stokes, joined by Jay Random. Hope you listened to our last episode because we're going to build off of that. How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm okay. It's a lot of news going on right now regarding this current administration, this presidential administration, and it's really causing a lot of chaos. My thing is this. I understand that the current president of the United States has a lot of enemies, and I just come with facts. I'm not coming to make fun of anybody. I'm not coming to be critical without reason. My thing is, some policies, some things that are in place, some talking points that are being made by this administration and followers that are against DEIA, that are against the rights for LGBTQIA plus people, that are against the rights for women. Some of the talking points that are being made, or a lot of them actually, are not logical.
Nope.
They're not. So in the past podcast episode, I don't know if you listened.
Ask your question real quick.
What's up?
Is it DEIA?
People say different things. So
okay, I just wanted to make sure because you lost me with that. I was like, dang, should I ask him? Because I never heard of a DEIA.
So yeah, so diversity, equity, and inclusion. The A stands for accessibility, and that's for people that are handicapped, right? So they feel that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why they just take off the A then.
No, well, I mean, some people feel sometimes that adding a word can enhance something. I say personally that saying equity and inclusion, that should include handicapped individuals, but my assumption is that accessibility would be for those who are impaired, like hearing impaired,
yes, visually
impaired, they cannot walk, right? So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you know what? That is what I'm thinking of on the top of my head. I've heard DEI for the longest, but when I see accessibility, my first thought is, oh, they're probably trying to do that to be inclusive of those who are handicapped. That's my first thought. I'm not saying that's the actual thing, but I know they are also included in this whole process. And I think a lot of times when we think of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're thinking about sexual orientation, we're thinking about gender, we're thinking about race. But then what about everybody else? There's other people that get left out. Even ageism, that's a thing too, right?
Correct.
So I don't want people to listen to this podcast and say, oh, well, the A is specifically for handicapped people. No, that is just me reading it off the top of my head. I'm thinking, oh, they're probably trying to do that to be inclusive of handicapped people just in case they were left out. So I hope that clears everything up.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So there's that. Speaking of which, I wanted to get into this story today. So when we're talking about DEI, DEIA, right? A lot of the face of this has often been Black individuals. And we know that diversity, equity, inclusion is not just meant for Black individuals. And even if Black people were benefiting from it the most, it's only right considering the fact that we were enslaved globally.
Yes.
I'm not even saying just in this country right here. Black people across the pond, across the water, whatever, in the African continent, Black people in Europe, Black people down in South America, back down in Central America, right? They have all had some form of colonization. They have been enslaved, right? And so if in America, there are policies in order to make sure these Black people who have been enslaved, that have dealt with so much systemic oppression, systemic racism, that they can get rights in order to get them on equal footing as everybody else who had a leg up, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. However, when we're actually looking into the nitty gritty, I got to flag this article today that found, it was a study on Harvard University. It found that 43% of white students admitted to Harvard University are either legacy students, meaning their parents went there, so they get a leg up and they have an easier I guess, admission rate. They're more easily admitted. They're either legacy students, athletes, or they're related to donors or staff members at Harvard.
Wow.
So this study actually looked from 2009 to 2014 and found that 43% of these white students fall into these categories. Meanwhile, only 16% of everybody else that is non-white falls into that category. So when y'all talking about getting into places based off merit, I guarantee you Harvard is not the only institution that is showcasing this.
No.
And part of the reason why this study even came about in the first place is that Asian students or Asian Americans were saying they're being discriminated against and they weren't being admitted to Harvard enough. This past, I guess, school semester, we saw a huge spike. Well, not a huge spike, but we saw a spike in Asians that were admitted to the university. I think in April, Harvard said that 25.4% of its admitted class of 1,950 students were Asian Americans, which was up from 22.7% the year before. So we do see a little bit of an increase in Asian students, right? Mm-hmm. So that was the whole thing. That's what kind of helped spawn this study. I just find it interesting. And I know I did a lot of talking. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I remember when this all came into play, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, when the Asian community was upset and saying that, was it affirmative action, right? Mm-hmm. Was it affirmative? Yeah, so they need to get rid of it so they could get back into colleges. And when they passed the law to get rid of affirmative action, I recall them saying that next is legacy. We know legacy is never going to be, legacy students will never ever be touched. Because it's funny you say that, 43%, right? 43%
43% are legacy athletes, the student or the children of staff members or donors to Harvard University.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how much out of that 43% are legacy, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot. And I remember them saying, okay, now that we got rid of affirmative action, next is they're going to see if they can start touching on legacy, which we all know that won't happen, right? So I say all that to say it's a shame that they take away things not knowing who they're really hurting, right? Because when you think about DEI, who benefits the most from DEI?
White women.
Exactly. So if they benefit the most, right, then what is that saying to you? So now that DEI is no longer around, does that mean they're going to get fired?
Likely.
Or that they won't get hired?
Likely.
Because if they're qualified, like we are qualified, then that should be enough. But that's not the case, right?
Definitely not.
So I'm curious to see, because I'm actually seeing it. Well, I can't really say, I can't prove it, but I'm seeing a shift in certain places that I visit. Well, I won't say too much information, but that I visit, I see a shift.
How so?
The chopping block doesn't seem like it's being fair in certain places.
I hear you.
Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think that this is a big backlash. A lot of white men, and this isn't being discriminatory, this is just telling like it is. A lot of white men, they feel that they are no longer on top. And because of that, they feel discriminated against. And my thing is, if you have other people who are serving in high positions and that can compete with you, that's not discrimination. That's called equality. It's called equity. That's called making sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to get this position.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're not, it's not your birthright to be the best. You have to work for it.
Correct. Just like everyone else, right? You would think. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised. I would definitely like to see a lot of these quote unquote business schools, like the business school that our now president went to. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of legacy going on there, because favoritism, who you know type going on, type activities going on there. Because I'm not the track record alone. If that was anybody else with a track record like he has for failing businesses, I don't think banks would give him loans anymore.
If you're listening to the AVIOT podcast on a streaming service, make sure to leave a rating and a review so we can grow our platform.
Give that person a loan. So we already know what it's about, right? The sad part is, at the end of the day, it's all about race, right? It's all about fair. But I don't understand why the fair is there, because you can't say on one hand you have to earn this spot, but then in the same breath the ones that's saying you have to earn this spot didn't really earn their spot, you know?
That's how it works. It's not
And
about
it's
fairness.
funny how, I don't know if you saw the report yesterday, and I do not remember the guy name, but he,
You gotta have me Google this again.
yeah, I know. He was a GOP. He basically said that kids that's getting free lunch.
Oh, that's a good one. That's actually a good one. Yeah. Say your piece.
Yes. So he basically said kids that's getting free lunch are basically mooching off the system. So the CNN reporter had to say, well, these kids are young. He said, well, I remember when I was 13 and I was picking berries in the field and I had a paper route. And she's like, sir, so are you saying that these kids that are in middle school, elementary and middle school should be getting a job so they could stop getting free lunch? He was like, well, I'm not saying that, but what about the high schoolers? She's like, okay, the high schoolers. She said, sir, at the end of the day, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, well, I did it. I'm like, come on, stop it.
First off,
when he was getting his money, whatever money he was getting, he was not buying lunch with it.
First off, his name is Rich McCormick. He's a representative for Georgia, and so he also supported the White House's federal aid freeze. All that was a bunch of nonsense. But anyways, so what I will say is this, and I'm gonna make sure to put his audio snippet in this episode.
Would you support getting rid of, school lunch for vulnerable kids and breakfast and Head Start, for example, and getting rid of childhood cancer research? Do you support that? And what do you say to your constituents? I want to follow up on that question, too, because I didn't hear an answer from you.
Sure. So I'm an ER doc, and I know that philanthropy is where you get most of your money for childhood cancer research, for example. And it's not just you look at what the president just proposed, a $500 billion spending bill on AI to produce cancer early detection in the first stage on most body parts. That's his spending bill where he wants to increase cancer research. So it's just about what part of the money it comes out of. When you talk about school lunches, hey, I worked my way through high school. I don't know about you, but I worked since I was, before I was even 13 years old. I was picking berries in the field before we had child labor laws that precluded that. I was a paper boy. And when I was in high school, I worked my entire way through. You're telling me that kids who stay at home instead of going to work at Burger King, McDonald's during the summer, should stay at home and get their free lunch instead of going to work? I think we need to have a top-down review.
I think you're painting a lot of these kids with a broad brush. I would say that's not necessarily a fair assessment of all of the kids. So you would say all the kids in your district who use the free lunch, for example, or breakfast, they're all just sitting at home and not working. Okay, I just want to clarify because that seems like what you were trying to insinuate.
This gives us a chance. This gives us a chance, though, to see where is the money really being spent. Who can actually go and actually produce their own income? Who can actually go out there and do something that makes them have value and work skills for the future? I mean, how many people got their start in fast food restaurants when they were kids versus just giving a blanket rule that gives all kids lunches in high school who are capable of going out and actually getting a job and doing something that makes them have value?
What he is saying, he has to understand. Well, he's not going to understand, nor I think he doesn't care.
That smug look alone.
He's white. So even if you were picking berries, I looked up his age too. He's 56 years old. He's white. So even if you were, quote unquote, working hard, picking berries and stuff like that, you being white alone is going to give you an advantage. Another black person that was picking berries and working hard, they probably still couldn't get to the position you are in life because they are black. So race plays a factor. Race plays a factor in job hiring. Race plays a factor in how law enforcement treats you. Race plays a factor in school grades. A lot of times, these grades are subjective. They're not objective. So a kid could do decent on his test scores, but the teacher could feel a type of way because they're not a certain color.
Yes.
And then they could mark them down. That happens. So you might have worked hard, but you being white is also social capital. That's also going to propel you in this United States. So it's not just about that.
No, I agree. And then also I beg to differ. The way he looks, I'm pretty sure he never picked no berries in the field. And if it was a berry in the field, it was probably a berry of a field that he owned. So so it's kind of like, I just hate the fact. It goes back to, the saying when they say, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Yeah. pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right? And it's kind of like, well, we don't even have any straps to pull up.
Didn't Dr. King say that? The man, y'all love the quote so much. He's like, well, what if your boots don't have straps on it? Then what?
Yeah.
And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
Then how you gonna pull them up? So, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like anytime people go, well, I did it, then they're already being insensitive and they're not listening to the problem.
Correct.
And he definitely wasn't listening to the problem because he was for kids getting jobs. And he said at McDonald's or Burger King, you know, to get lunch money. And I'm like, nah, you're missing the point. This whole argument is just null and void right now. You're speaking to someone that would never understand the hardship of, the benefits of these school lunches.
Just a bit of levity. Just a bit of levity. He wanted you. He wanted us, but he wanted you. Just so you know.
What do you mean?
He wanted us, but he wanted you.
Oh, you mean sign-wise?
Yep. He wanted us, but he wanted you. I told you it's the October ones. It's y'all October
ones.
He's
October.
It's the October ones.
Nah, man, them September ones are crazy, man.
Listen. Listen.
October what? October what? What's October what?
7th, I think.
Oh, man, he don't count. He ain't me.
You.
Nah, man.
Hey, listen.
I'm October 18th, man.
Hey,
you gotta get in the team.
All right, so you gotta claim Snoop Dogg then. You gotta claim Snoop Dogg then.
Of course, man, listen. I claim anybody, even him, even though he's in the 7s, right? But
no, Snoop Dogg's I think 21. I think Snoop Dogg is October 21.
Oh, nah, man. Listen,
you gotta claim him.
No.
You gotta claim him.
I'm only claiming teens. Give me a teens. Give me like
Snoop Dogg October 20th. He's 2 days after you. He's 2 days after you. You gotta claim him.
He the 20th?
Yeah, you gotta claim him.
He got a TH at the end.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking for October 13th to the 18th. I'll even take the 19th. After that, I'm not taking anymore.
All right.
Nah, seriously, on a serious note.
You need some levity. You need something.
No.
This is rough times, man. We're rough times.
You definitely do. You gotta laugh or you're gonna go crazy, right?
Exactly.
I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure you get the same. I get so many notifications now. I never remember getting so many notifications on my phone. I'm starting to think, what is going on? I don't remember hitting a notification for my Newsday or my CNN. It comes in every freaking 10 minutes to an hour. And I'm like, what did he do now?
Yeah.
Meaning the president. So
yeah,
it's definitely sensory overload right about now.
Yeah. And what we're not going to do on this podcast, nor our platform at all, we're not going to give any power to him or his administration. What we're going to do is we're going to correct whenever something is wrong. We're going to correct it with facts. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So that's that. Speaking of facts, I don't know if you saw this whole situation with Selena Gomez.
No, what's up?
So she was online. She had made an IG story and ended up deleting it where she was crying over the ICE raids that are happening right now. So ICE raids, y'all, for those of y'all, I know we have some people who are foreign who are listening into us. Pretty much this is people that work for the government that are going in and quote unquote, supposedly taking undocumented immigrants and trying to get them out of the country, right? That's supposedly that's what they're supposed to be doing. And so Selena was crying over it, just saying how it's happening to her people. And she ended up taking it down. I wanted to get what ICE actually stands for. It stands for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's ICE. But she was crying over it and she ended up taking it down. I'm sad she took it down, but she felt bad about that situation. Now, Selena Gomez is not an immigrant. I don't think she's even the child. She's not even the child of immigrants. Her paternal grandparents immigrated here from Mexico. So she's actually a real, like, I hate to put it like that, but by US standards, she's actually a citizen of the US. She's not first gen, she's second gen. So she's ingrained in the US. She's a US citizen. And can you believe that this guy, Sam Parker, so he ran for US Senate in Utah in 2008. So he's going to go and say on Twitter/X that Selena Gomez should be deported. So
what?
Yes. So this goes to show that these whole ICE raids, this whole thing with deportation, it is more than just getting rid of undocumented immigrants. At this point, y'all are just using that as cover to say that y'all don't want any Latinas up in here. That's what y'all doing.
That is true. That is true. I agree, because I'm pretty sure there's other nationalities that are here illegally, but when you think about deportation, who's the face of deportation?
Yeah, so I heard a siren. I said, "What timing? What timing?"
Yeah. No, that's funny. I don't hear any of that, which is great.
Yeah, I heard a siren in the background. I'm like, but yeah, the face of that is Latinos, Hispanics. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad because it's okay. They might. I think I saw a number, and I don't believe in that number, but they broke it down how many illegals are in the U.S. And of course, Mexico. I mean, the Mexicans, they were at the top, and then they started breaking it down by different countries and the illegals. And I was saying to myself, is that really a real number?
I don't know.
I know.
I have no idea. Speaking of numbers, let's get into updates right quick. So we're trying to get these numbers up on our platforms. I have been on a crusade speaking on different sports topics, and I'll save that for me and Taylor to talk about what's been happening in sports, because there's a lot happening in the WNBA right now, and it's hard for me to keep up. But we're working on getting our numbers up. Please, y'all, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. So we're at 4,100 subscribers, I believe. So we're really working on getting that number up. So we would love that. Facebook, I will be back to posting on Facebook. If you have a Facebook account, follow us on there. I understand Mark Zuckerberg is an interesting character. We'll just leave it at that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
However, these are the platforms we have. Unfortunately, most of these platforms, unless we're doing things by hand, we're handing out flyers. That's the best way to connect to people. And a lot of these billionaires, multimillionaires that control these platforms are not great people. However, you got to take the good with the bad. It's a way to connect with one another. So We appreciate y'all's support. Please support us on these platforms. Still trying to figure out how to grow our Instagram page. I do think we're going to have to do lives on there eventually. I know you probably all lived out by our Sunday brew, but
no, I'm cool to live. I'm cool to live. You know,
yeah, I'm thinking like another live.
Instagram?
We got to figure out how to do it though. That's the only thing.
Okay. Well, I gotta activate my account again or put it back on one of my phones.
We'll talk about it offline. We'll develop a plan for that. But right, I just want to grow these platforms because I do believe that our voices are needed. And I'm not saying that as an ego trip type thing. I'm just saying that there's a lot of negativity going out here. There's a lot of you are this, you are that, just a lot of nonsense. I feel that with our voices, we try to provide clarity and we truly try to weigh things out. Them Libra scales, right? We truly try to weigh things out and give an honest take on the news that's out there. We're not compromised. So if there's something that needs to be said, we're going to say it.
Yes, sir.
If there is a topic out there that you want us to talk about, we're going to talk about it, right? And we're going to make sure that we say what needs to be said. If it's a threat to our livelihood, then we can address it. However, we're not going to be as candid as we probably would be with each other. However, we will address it.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, these topics we're talking about right now, like we have jobs. We have jobs outside of this venture, right? So people could be listening, but we're not saying anything crazy. We're just saying the facts. That's what it is. We're not name calling. We're not threatening anybody. We're just saying the facts. And we're saying what's right and what's wrong. So that's that. Speaking of what's wrong, let's get into the topic of the day. Now, our friend of the show, Travis Washington, was supposed to be on today, and I ain't trying to call him out or anything. I know it seems like
something came up, so we'll probably get him at the next show.
Yeah. We'll get him. And he's our resident Palestine expert, right? And so we know that there was a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel regarding whatever is going back and forth between them, the Palestinian conflict. One thing that I have to mention, because it applies to the Selena Gomez thing, when she had posted, there was the video of her crying about the ICE raids going around online. I saw in the comments section, people were saying, but you didn't speak about Palestine, though. But you didn't say anything about Palestine. And really, I think you and I addressed this on another episode of the podcast, but we really got to stop with trying to insert Palestine and what's going on over there into all other conflicts or all other atrocities. Y'all, the situation over there is important, but it's not more important than anything else.
No.
And also, she's Mexican, right? So why should she, if she doesn't really know the facts, talk about something she doesn't know, right? There's
Correct.
a lot going on, and you got to be careful on what you say when you're talking about the Israel and Palestine conflict, right?
Correct.
Especially if you're not a part of either side. But she's Mexican. She's being affected by it. So that's not fair to tell her, oh, but you didn't talk about this. Okay, cool. I don't know too much about that, but I know about this part. I know my family members or friends. I know people that's being affected, good or bad, meaning it's really no good, but the bad part is that they're just taking everybody, it seemed like, and then trying to sort it out later. So that's the bad part. There's really no good part. But you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and I agree with you, sometimes, man, we got to focus on what that person is talking about at that time.
Correct.
And it's not fair to tell her, oh, but you didn't say anything about this. Cool. I don't know anything about that to say anything about it.
What I will say is this. I was on my phone because I was looking up some things. In the past, I think she had posted with a Starbucks cup, and people were upset about that because I know there's some controversy between Starbucks supporting Israel or something along the lines of that. I'm going to make sure I double check with that. But I know there's something, and a lot of people that were supporting Palestine were against Starbucks. But Selena Gomez responded to someone saying that I can't believe Selena Gomez is like supporting Starbucks. And then she responded saying, I did not know. So apparently I am that stupid. I'm sorry. Right? Then yes. I'm also looking, and it says Middle East Eye. So it's quick Google search. It says Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez attend Gaza fundraiser. I'm looking on IMDb. Selena Gomez's beauty brand to donate to Palestinian war victims after backlash. So I'm looking, and it seems that she's been trying to do things to support Palestine.
Correct. So what's the problem? Stop complaining.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't
get it either. And then also, I feel like this. I hope you don't say people getting mad at DJ Khaled because he says nothing. And last time I checked,
true,
he is Palestinian, right?
Let me double check.
I think so. I think that's the reason why they're mad at him. I mean, they wouldn't be mad at him for any other reason. Like, they really like, you don't support, I swear, you don't support us. I thought that's what they were saying.
Yeah, Palestinian parents. Yeah.
There you go. So, he's still running around, we the best. Nobody saying anything to him.
That's true.
He's quiet.
True. And speaking of things that are going on in other countries, no one's talking about the Democratic Republic of the Congo right now.
No one's talking about that.
They're going through a lot of turmoil over natural resources, civil war, inward bickering, outside influences coming in, and we could dedicate another show to actually unpacking that. I'm just saying, why is it that we don't, when it's a black issue, I don't see people going to bat for them? Even when Haiti had their earthquake, I remember there was this big outcry, but last I checked, didn't the American Red Cross misappropriate the funds that were sent to try? So I'm saying, when it's a black cause, it's allegedly. Like y'all got that same energy. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
allegedly. But yeah, exactly. So I go back to saying, do not get mad at Selena Gomez for anything Because I would like to know if that person who said that, who tweeted her or replied to her, what are they doing for Palestine?
Exactly. Because a lot of y'all are just social media warriors. Y'all just be talking on social media, but y'all don't do anything.
Yeah, a lot of people talk because they have lips, right?
Exactly.
So they say stuff, but they don't have any merit behind it.
And for those of y'all who might come back, well, what are y'all doing? Listen, our platform, our chemistry production platform, we have donated to causes. We just don't talk about it.
Nope.
Okay.
Yes, we don't need to.
Yeah, we don't need to.
So there you go.
We make anonymous donations. We do that stuff. We don't need to. We don't need to advertise that. We practice what we preach.
Yes.
And we also provide a safe space for other Black voices to come on here. Like we already talked about our plans for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have something coming out for Black History Month. So we're doing things.
Yeah.
Y'all may not see it, but we're doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Enough said with that.
Can we end this podcast with some kind of good news? I know. What's
up?
And now for a quick commercial break.
Hey guys, as you can hear, we are unapologetic in our opinions. We may be politically incorrect or possibly wrong, but don't knock us for being ourselves and saying what many are too afraid to admit out loud. Anyways, if you have any thoughts or questions about our show, email us at chemistryproductions@gmail.com. That's K3MISTRY productions@gmail.com. We'll be sure to address whatever you have to say.
Good news. I know we keep coming back to this.
WNBA?
No, that's sports. We don't talk about sports on this one.
Okay. So we keep
coming back to this. We keep coming back to this Kendrick Lamar, Aubrey, Drake Graham situation. You see what happened to DJ Akademiks, right?
Yes.
So
the sad part with that though.
Now you gotta tell the audience was good though.
No. You tell it and then because you would know the word for word. So bust it out.
I feel like I got so much noise going on in the background right now.
I hear nothing.
Well, that's good for you. I'm just saying on this end. So,
which is great because then our listeners are not going to hear anything either.
So DJ Akademiks has been reportedly banned from Twitch after making remarks towards a 15-year-old minor. I'm not going to name his name because he's a minor, but I think this 15-year-old minor, you can look it up, DJ Akademiks, 15-year-old minor. He's a boy. And DJ Akademiks was pretty much talking about this boy, like he was talking with him with other friends, and they were, how do I best say this? Because I don't want to get too graphic. They were kind of joking around with him, like, oh, you've been messing around with other girls, or would you want to mess around with my friend if you were a girl? Just very inappropriate. And since that happened, he's been banned from Twitch. And all I got to say is all of Kendrick's lines and his music is aging like fine wine. Yeah. Baka's got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified, And my thing is we're seeing people who are associated with Aubrey Drake Graham, those who praise him, are weird.
Yeah. You know what? That's, to be honest with you, I don't really know what was said, right? But I must admit, it does seem kind of weird if that. First of all, I don't care if they're related or not. It just seems weird to have that conversation, right? And definitely with a stranger, right? And then live. And I'm not even sure, I'm actually going to listen to it again because I'm still kind of, I don't know what he said. I heard little bits and pieces, but I don't know if they're trying to make it seem like he was, because they said grooming, but I'm like, grooming sound like he's trying to get with the kid. I think he was just asking the kid inappropriate stuff, which is still bad.
It's considered grooming.
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Grooming is pretty much like you're trying to shape or mold a kid into a certain being, right? Whether it's you want to advance on them, you want to advance and get with them in an intimate way when they get older, or if you're trying to make them, I guess, develop into a certain personality, a certain character.
So, quick question. So, from what you heard, he wasn't trying to get with him, correct?
I don't know. The way he was asking those questions, and it was very disturbing to listen to, but the way...
It was disturbing for me, too. That's why I didn't really listen to it too much. But from what I heard, it was more of just asking him, asking him, which is still wrong by all means, inappropriate questions like, like you said again, if I had a friend, would you date her and all that other stuff?
No. He was saying, if my friend, this male, was a female. Sorry. If you were a female, would you want to get with the boy? Would you?
So
want
he's
to get
asking
with my
the boy
friend?
if you could change and be the opposite.
Would you want to get with my male friend?
Gotcha.
And then he's also asking him, what is the extent of his intimate relationships? Like, he was getting really graphic with it.
Yeah. That's creepy. That's definitely creepy. Definitely creepy, and definitely not cool. So,
what I will say, this young boy, he was very responsible. Whoever his parents are did a wonderful job raising him. I don't know where they are. Like, why are you allowing him to be on this thing with grown men on these streamers? Go ahead.
Just want to tell you something. So I actually purchased. It's so funny. I purchased the Quest, the Meta Quest, the VR headset, and I kid you not, I had it for probably like 2 weeks, and I was telling my wife and I was telling my mother, I said, it's so crazy how it seems like it's more kids that have this headset than grown-ups. So for me, it was like, so the kids would run up and be like, hi, and I'll be like, I just ignore them. Hi, I ignore them. I never spoke to anybody.
Right.
And they're rude as heck too on there. So I felt like, you know what, this ain't my space. Like, I came here to play video games, not to interact with anybody, especially anybody young, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to say hi to you because I feel like, nope, I came here to play video games. But I say all this to say, with the Twitch, the Xbox, the PlayStation, man, there's a lot of disrespectful, awkward, nasty things being said. So I'm pretty sure this ain't the first time Akademiks said something stupid like this. It was recorded.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was recorded because I'm telling you,
it's probably been worse.
My son sent me something with these two kids and this grown up. And this grown up, he wasn't doing nothing wrong. He was playing a video game, and these two kids were going back and forth with each other and just saying the most disrespectful, nasty things. So the grown up was like, do you know him? He said, no, I don't know him. And he just kept on going in and cussing each other out. And the grown up was like, I'm out. I came here to play. So so that space alone, this universe, this was VR universe, this gaming universe is really nasty, really disgusting. I mean, meaning, the things that these kids say to each other, it needs to stop. And the problem is, it's not being policed.
Yeah, speaking of nasty and disgusting, I was talking on the last episode about just people's intimate photos leaking, and I was saying how I don't like how people leak these intimate photos. Yeah. However, I did say another thing too, and I just want to go back to that right quick. I said, if you're taking intimate photos of yourself and you're sending it to people, be prepared that there is a chance they could get out there on the internet or anything, because people share things nowadays and things do get out there. I don't want it to make it seem that I'm victim blaming. That's not my intention. Correct. I'm just saying we got to be realistic. Anytime you send intimate photos to somebody, even if you have it on your phone, a hacker can get to it, or someone can, if you're sending it to someone, they could share it with a friend, and then next thing you know, it's on the internet. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it happens. So just be aware of that. I don't take any intimate photos of myself. I don't share any intimate photos of myself, because I'm aware that that's what can happen, and it is what it is.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, I know. I want to.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, you have to be, and
be smart too. Got to be smart.
Yeah, and this is not to blame people who are victims of that, because I really feel for people who are victims of that. It's more so just understand, we live in a crazy world. We do. We live in a crazy world. Anytime a celebrity has an intimate photo that gets leaked, we're like, everybody's trying to get to it and stuff. However, we got to remember, at the end of the day, they were violated. They were violated. That's what it is. So I wanted to end the show on a bright note. I wanted to.
Well, yeah, Akademiks.
Make fun of him.
Akademiks, man. Listen, he got what he deserved, man.
He did.
Can't do stuff like that. I mean, and granted, hope he don't have any kids, do he? Because he about to try to because he has to find a new way to make money now.
I don't know.
I think Twitch was his number one, because if Twitch did it, everybody's gonna fall suit.
Well, he been saying suspect things for the longest, like talking bad about women, all that stuff. So it is what it is, man. Listen, it's been a good episode.
Yes.
I will see you on Sunday. We actually have fans, so
yes.
I will see you on Sunday.
Sunday, yes. Yes. Morning brew.
Yes.
Sunday brew. What time? Sunday brew. There you go. You're not gonna throw the morning in front of there.
No. All right, man. Talk to you later.
Peace.
So go a little something like this. That's AVIOT.